everybody. This is Jenna.
And I'm Noelle.
And you're listening to More Than Murder, where we delve into everything eerie with a side of true crime.
More Than Murder is not your typical true crime podcast. Join us on a weekly tour through the haunted, the bloody, the creepy, and the nutty on our Freaky Fridays.
Welcome back, listeners.
Welcome.
And of course, Noelle.
Thank you. I thought you forgot about me.
No, never. Never, ever. I have a little smiley face after your name in my notes, too.
I love me.
I do.
I love you.
So today, listeners, it is a rainy, thunderstormy, dark day.
Yeah, it's perfect for what
yes,
we have coming.
Spooky things. So, yeah, if you hear it, maybe you'll hear a nice thunder, rumble, bang.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. You might have some sound effects.
Yes. Maybe you can hear the rain. I don't know. But today, I thought it's been a while since our last haunted prison.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's go to a pretty infamous one today.
Ooh, can't wait.
Yes. So we are going to The Rock, which is also known as Alcatraz.
Ooh.
I have this just fascination with Alcatraz. I always have. The thought of this huge prison just on an island in the bay. Like, it's just like, wow. It's magnificent.
It is. And it's like, it's just so mystical, it seems like,
because
there's we don't
fog
live anywhere near
that will roll up like in front of it.
Yeah.
And just,
I'm amazed that people just get to like drive by it on their drive every day. Like,
I know.
When they're crossing, I'm like,
the Golden Gate Bridge. I think you can just
bail. Yeah,
just see it.
That is awesome. I would never get used to it. I don't think I'd always be looking at it. Being
I would be like,
I want to
craning my
investigate
head
there so bad.
I know.
I want to.
And I mean, we'll get into how, the opening and how it works nowadays. So,
cool.
Yes. If you didn't guess from right now that we just talked about, Alcatraz is located in the San Francisco Bay. It is on a literal rocky island.
Okay.
Yeah. Because it was surrounded on all sides by water and it had strong currents, it was really the perfect place to house the worst of the worst criminals.
Ooh.
This place is legit.
Yeah.
The history goes much deeper than just a federal penitentiary, so let's hop right in.
Okay, let's please.
All right,
I'm excited.
History.
L'histoire.
Yes, so I got Spanish coming up. Guys, here we go.
Oh, and that was some French for you.
I took 7th and 8th grade Spanish, and I could have elected 9th grade, but I was not good at Spanish, so I did not elect.
Accent is right on point, guys.
Yeah, sorry,
right
guys. I'm sorry, okay? It's only twice, so we'll get her done. The original island was discovered in 1775 by Spanish explorer Juan Manuel de Ayala.
Okay.
Upon the discovery, yes, Ayala named the 22-acre rock La Isla de los Alcatraces. Yes. Which
that
sounds
not too bad for me. I think you did good.
Alcatraz,
Yeah, that's cool. 22
acres.
Yes. 22 acres of
just
a
rock island.
That's
yes.
so cool.
Right in the bay. It's so neat.
I want to go really bad.
Mm-hmm. I know. We'll get into it at the end.
Okay, because
we're gonna make because I just want to go.
We're gonna make our bucket list of paranormal places we're gonna visit.
Oh, 100%.
When we're
100%. Yes. So this directly translates to Island of the Pelicans.
Huh. Did pelicans often go over there?
So the island itself is pretty desolate. There was nothing really there except there was seabirds, and a lot of birds had inhabited the island. Huh. So yes, I think there might have been at that time pelicans. I think now it's more of your seagulls and that kind of seabird. U.S. English speakers ended up changing the name, of course, to what we now know as Alcatraz.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's similar, you get the Alcatraz, so they just kind of shortened it and made it Americanized. By the 1850s, during the height of the gold rush, the island was reserved for military use. Yes.
Okay.
They believed, of course, it was the perfect location for a fort. I mean, they're not wrong, logistically.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's kind of, it depends on, I'm not going to get into it. Anyway.
I mean, they have water around them, they could get something as it's coming into the bay first.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's protecting the bay. They had a plan to start out with 100 cannons, and they built the first functional lighthouse located on the West Coast.
Oh, wow. Neat.
Yes.
So there's the lighthouse on Alcatraz Island as well.
If you look at your picture document, yes, you can see.
I definitely need to go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's still standing, of course, and it's like the oldest on the West Coast.
I do believe I knew this. I just forgot. I just need to go here so bad.
I know.
I want to go in the lighthouse and I want to go in the prison.
Everything about it is just so cool.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. So, of course, this is a haunted episode.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Can't wait. Let's get into it.
The first deaths occurred on the island in 1857 while the island was under construction. Some laborers who were excavating a roadway occurred a landslide. Yes, this is common actually on the island. If you look, there's like dirt and stuff with the rock, and it's got its own little like habitat. Yeah, it landslides.
That's crazy.
I
would never have thought that would have landslides. Okay,
I know, really, but you got the water and stuff. You never know. Enough rain or anything over that, anything could happen. So this buried several men. And 2 of these men did die. Yeah, that's pretty early on this history.
Yeah.
Fort Alcatraz, which is what it was called, was fully equipped for military use by 1859.
Okay.
Of course, the start of the Civil War in 1861 had Fort Alcatraz changing course a little bit.
Huh.
It went from being used for defense to being used as a military prison. So it's...
Okay.
It starts to tension pretty early on in its history. Any civilians who were tried for treason would be housed there, as well as prisoners of war.
Okay.
They built additions as the population grew to house more inmates. The upper and lower prisons, as they were called. The upper prison would be used for housing the inmates, and then the lower prison was used for like their workshops and duties and things like that.
Okay.
The lower prison was nearly destroyed in 1902 when a fire occurred. This prompted a new concrete building to be built using, of course, prison labor.
Of course.
Is there any other way to build a prison back in the day?
Dig your own grave.
Throw back to Rolling Hills, I think. Yeah. Because I don't want chop. In 1915, the island was renamed the, quote, Pacific Branch U.S. Disciplinary Barracks.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
okay.
Pretty legit, I guess. And of course, with this name, it's still being used as a military prison.
Yep.
But they kind of changed the objective, and they wanted more like education and rehabilitation for this area.
Okay.
Doesn't last long.
I'm not shocked.
It never does, right? So this, at the point, was a minimum security prison. So oftentimes, inmates were allowed out and about. They'd go to work duties and only really be locked in cells at night. Okay. Which, I mean, I feel like that's prison nowadays, too. They're kind of out. They're doing their jobs, or they're in the...
Well, I suppose that depending on
common
the
room.
Security of the...
Well, yes. Like, if you're in a max, you're kind of...
A little tighter on the butt.
A little limited, or if you're in, like, solitary, yeah, you're not, having a fun time. Yeah.
We laugh.
We're awful. Okay. This isn't a funny prison.
No, prison is not funny.
No. So, during World War I, the prison held many German POWs, as well as those who refused military service. So. Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Isn't that fucked?
Yeah.
Someone who didn't, can't do it for this reason, they could be thrown in a military prison. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So now we're going to get into the 1930s, which is the meat and potatoes. And this is when Alcatraz changes again and becomes a federal prison.
Okay.
Yep, so it's federal, not state.
Has nothing to do with military anymore, or it still does it?
Nope.
No, once it switched to federal, it became regular prison.
Yeah, a regular federal prison.
Yeah,
there's a federal, and then there's the state prison, and it's
for regular inmates, but
not getting in there. But yes, people. Regular people, civilians, I guess.
Yeah,
which I guess there might have been depending on what you did in the military prison, but whatever, confusing. So The Alcatraz prison was
It's okay. I just snorted like right before you said that. It was like a really loud. It's grand. Hope y'all heard it.
So the Alcatraz prison was updated and modernized with tool-proof cells, and they added security such as like metal detectors.
Okay.
Tool-proof cells. Remember that.
What the hell does that even mean?
It means that you can't get out with a tool.
Yeah, but
they're tool-proof.
Wouldn't they? So they must have been wooden before that, where they were tool-proof.
It was like concrete, but people could just get through the concrete. There's other ways that they can probably build it up, I guess.
Get through the concrete.
If you got a tool, yeah. That's why I call it tool-proof, because you have to have a tool of some sort.
Well, to get through concrete, you're going to need like a damn jackhammer.
That's a tool.
How's nobody going to hear that?
Well, no, they're just saying that they're making it just tool-proof for everything.
A handsaw.
It's just tool-proof. Hey, those people in Dannemora, that's what they used. They brought like saws in through the hamburger meat. And they used it. It wasn't like a zzz, but it was a saw. And that's how they broke out of that prison. Because apparently everybody who works there is deaf. Just crazy. It just blows my mind. I don't get it either. No, and we'll get into the escape attempts. The escapes, we get into that in this. Because, of course, every prison people try to escape. So, yeah. All right, well, let's move past my mind-blownness and get on with it. It, of course, went from minimum security of the military prison to a maximum security. There was a 3-story cell house with 4 main cell blocks, A through D. Normal stuff. The warden's office, visitation room, library, and as well a barber shop. Gotta look cleanly shaven and have haircuts. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. The cells at Alcatraz were very simple, with a bed, a desk, a wash basin, and a toilet. Okay. So just your simple stuff, you know. You're in prison. What you would picture a prison to be. Yeah, you're in prison. So the D block, a max security one called Alcatraz, no less. So on a rock. Yeah. Floating in the San Francisco fucking Bay. Oh, people driving by on the bridge looking at you every day. Good Lord, dude, imagine. And we'll get into it. You did not want to go to Alcatraz. It meant things. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay. So the D block was to house the worst of the worst. And in D block, the 6 cells towards the end of the cell house were used for solitary, or as it's called, the hole. Okay. Why do they call it the hole? The hole or the shoe or... Yeah, just, ugh. Awful. It really gives you a good image, I guess. The hole. Yeah. Yeah. The main intention of Alcatraz was to house prisoners who kept causing trouble at other federal institutions. So they literally housed the worst of the worst. They were considered violent, or they were constantly breaking the rules. Yeah. Oh, wow. So it wasn't even just regular violent criminals. It was violent criminals that they couldn't even be contained in other prisons. Yeah. Woo. Yeah. Monsters. It was known as a, quote, last resort prison with no hopes of rehabilitation. Oh, my. I mean... That's pretty... They're going to do some things to hopefully keep the guys in line. I don't know. I don't think you can call that rehabilitation, because usually that's more towards a good path of putting people on, you know, the right way. But, yeah. Well, with these guys being who they are, I mean, they have to... Sounds like they have to be kind of strict. You got to watch out for your back, because it sounds like they could just... saw you in at any time. For real. Oh, God. So, basically, with Alcatraz, it's not like you were sentenced to Alcatraz when you committed your first crime. So, you were sent there from a different federal penitentiary. It was prisoners who were acting out of turn and couldn't, be handled, of course, like we basically just talked about. The main prison itself opened August 1934. So this was after they, got it tool-proofed and modernized and, I guess, nicer than it was. I'm somewhat surprised. I, for some reason, always pictured it being a prison long ago. Like, long, not 1934. It was. It just wasn't the prison that we think about, because it does have an old history, but it's not... Yeah, that's cool. It wasn't federal until, the 30s. Interesante. Yeah, and it doesn't have a long life either. No, not really. 33 to 63. Yeah. So, No. So once it opened, there were 137 prisoners from Leavenworth Prison in Kansas who were transferred. Mm-hmm. Leavenworth comes into this a lot.
Who else was at Leavenworth that we've talked about already?
Carol
Pam.
Yeah, we'll get into some other Leavenworth fellas later on because they come to Alcatraz.
Yeah.
It's...
Leavenworth wasn't a place for good people either.
No, and it makes sense because those people were out of turn at Leavenworth.
Yeah.
And then, like, holy fuck.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah. So most of the prisoners were bank robbers, counterfeiters, and murderers. Gotta think it's the 30s. Prohibition, mobsters, organized crime is huge. Mm-hmm. So...
And it's in the West, so you're looking at people riding on horses. And...
Not in the 30s!
Hey, you never know. If 30s cars were just starting to come out, you might not have the money for a car. You're probably still riding a horse.
Yeah, and...
With the cowboy hats on. Yeah, let's get on the train.
You still see that. You still see that in the freaking West right now.
Yep.
We saw like a whole herd, and this guy was on a big horse, and he was a big cowboy. He was like his herd was going across the road. We had to just sit there and wait for it.
I'm talking the ones that are chasing after the train because they're trying to get on the train and rob it.
Well, yes. Outlaws from the 1800s. That's what those are. Outlaws.
Yes, outlaws from 1934.
Yes. We had like the Jesse James.
Yeah, but when was Wild Bill around?
That's what I was thinking. I think that was the late 1800s.
Huh.
I do. I think that's
we should do
that era.
We should do a Wild Wild West episode.
Oh, fuck yeah, all day long.
Of our outlaw episode.
Yes, we'll do that.
The Outlaws. Cool.
Yeah, like Wyatt.
Add it to the list.
And, yeah, you got all those people. All right, cool.
Now you guys know how we plan things.
In the moment.
Just talking about stuff.
All right. So Alcatraz was very notorious for the brutal and inhumane conditions, and it became known as the toughest prison in America.
It honestly seems like it had to be.
Yeah, 100%.
Honestly,
for the people that were there.
Yeah, you hear how we are usually condemning things like that, but if these are prisoners that are unruly at some of the worst prisons, how are they supposed to be contained at this point? Like, they're trying not to in other prisons. You still didn't listen.
I know. I don't get it.
It's tough.
It is because it was brutal. Yeah. But it was like, what
else?
Behave.
Yeah.
Like, behave at these other prisons and you're going to get your privileges. You're going to get stuff. You're going to have a better life in prison.
Right.
But
stop
when you're acting on a
life.
Turn, exactly. Yeah. You're going to go to solitary. You're not going to have a very fun time.
No.
Anyway. So, due to the reputation of the inmates that were arriving at Alcatraz, I guess they set up a prisoner to guard ratio, which was 3 to 1.
Three prisoners
to one guard. Yeah. At first I read it like 3 to 1, 3 guards to one prisoner. And I was like, oh damn, that's safe as F. And then somewhere else it was like 3 to 1, and they clarified it as guard to prisoner. So
for the most dangerous people.
Prisoner to guard, yeah. 3 to 1.
In here, they choose. See, that's
why
I don't understand.
Well, it probably just shows that at other prisons there weren't those types of ratios. It was probably one guard for a population.
Yeah.
So, who knows? Maybe that was enough to kind of keep them... Hopefully, they're going to be in chains. Crazy. They're not going to be just,
meandering about.
Exactly. Yeah. And this place is strict, so they're not just, hopefully, meandering about. The nice thing about Alcatraz, though, was that each prisoner had their own cell.
Huh.
Yeah, so it was like...
Didn't have to share.
Quite private at the time, I guess. Maybe that's a newer thing that we're doing now, so we can pack them in there tight.
I was going to say, now, did it ever become overpopulated?
Not really, no. They never
really... That's impressive.
I didn't look and see anything throughout my research that said, overpopulation, over rampant, stuffed cells.
That's impressive that they decided to keep it to we have this amount of cells and we have one person per
cell. And
cell.
that's why they made it so that, like, if you lived in California, you weren't going to court and being like, you're going to Alcatraz. Yeah. It didn't work that way.
Right.
Because then it gets very populated. It was, okay, you're out of turn. We're going to look at probably your file and see if you need to go to Alcatraz.
Yeah, this is not just a general prison.
Exactly. And that's... It's a good idea. For the time. It's a good idea for the time. We have... I'm not getting into the prison system in America. I'm not doing it right now. Okay. So, yes, good behavior could reward inmates with privileges. Usually, like work duties, it wasn't a good thing. It was like you could probably go hoe the yard. And of
Get
course,
your vitamin D.
Yeah. And of course, bad behavior came with harsh punishments.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they didn't get any, like, specifics on them punishments.
Oh.
I think it was pretty hush-hush. But yeah, they were punished.
Huh.
So prisoners were counted every half hour to make sure that everyone was accounted for.
Yeah.
They ran this place, man. We're going to get into the day-to-day life because it's structured.
Huh.
Okay? So prisoners would be woken at 6:30 a.m. They would first tidy their cells and wash up before they marched silently to the mess hall. After breakfast, prisoners would be given work assignments, which they would go until call for dinner. After dinner, they returned to their cells where they were locked in for the night just to wake up and do it all over the next day.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
Structure. That's how it is now in prisons.
Yeah.
You have your structure. It's supposed to be rehabilitating, I guess, to have
routine.
Yeah, but they go crazy with routine. I mean, I've seen people who've been to prison and they're just a little different.
Well, it's like the military.
Yeah,
it's just you have very structured routine,
and you get that way. And some things just kind of stick with you after you leave. It's crazy. Mm-hmm. So, said to be one of the harshest policies at Alcatraz was Warden Johnson's silence policy. Huh. Inmates were only permitted to speak during meal times, in the yard on Saturdays, and for 3 minutes during morning or afternoon break.
Wow.
Other times you were quiet, you were silent, you did not talk. If you talked, you probably got sent to the hole. You can't plan shit. You can't plan shit if you're not talking.
I mean, unless you're writing stuff down on papers.
Which they probably were, because there was organization within here between people. We'll get into it.
Yeah, but make it more challenging, sure. And honestly, if that's what's going to keep them quiet and stop them from being rowdy, which is what sent them to this prison in the first place, that's... Man, I thought you were going to say like waterboarding or something. No, he's literally just telling you to shut your mouth and be quiet.
But it said that the silence drove the men insane. Because there were only strict little parts of the day where you could talk for probably only snippets of time. Mm-hmm. So they weren't having communication with other people, really. It wasn't... That can get daunting, especially, if they stay in solitary for a long time. You can, wig the fuck out in there. So, yeah, that was said to be the harshest. Alcatraz was notorious and not a place you wanted to be sent. Once there, some, of course, did try to escape, which a lot of people thought it was impossible. Cold water, strong currents surrounding the island.
Sharks.
the length of where the island is, not an easy swim to do.
Landslides on the island, apparently.
Yes, it happens. So, over the span of operation, which was 33 to 63, Alcatraz housed over 1,500 prisoners. These are just kind of loose numbers, guys. Over those 1,500, 36 had attempted to escape. Over 14 separate attempts. 20 of them were captured. 7 were shot and killed.
Oh, wow.
2 drowned. And 5 were never found.
Wow.
Yes.
Huh.
So who knows? And did they drown? Were they successful? Even the people who drowned, it's kind of murky.
Yeah. Because
they just kind of wrote it down like they drowned. And we'll get into it because we're going into escape attempts.
I've got all sorts of weird sci-fi in my head right now, and I'm like, this guy's like 30 leagues under, and he's got somebody waiting under there with a submarine, and he just jumped off the island into the submarine and just zoomed off under the water. Like
something, man. Who knows? Prisoners have a lot of time to think sometimes.
Oh yeah, I say, especially when you can't talk all day.
Yep. So now we're gonna get into the escape attempts.
Okay.
There were many, but I covered the 2 that were kind of the biggest. And the most...
Sensationalized?
Yes, basically. So, the first one is the Battle of Alcatraz, as they called it. It occurred between May 2nd and May 4th in 1946.
Okay.
It was the bloodiest escape attempt in the history of the prison.
Oh, my.
Yeah. So, we got 6 guys involved. Bernard Coy, Joseph Kretzer, Sam Shockley, Clarence Carnes, Marvin Hubbard, and Mirren Thompson. Okay? Yeah. After that, I'm calling them by their last names. Make a list if you need to. The 6 men took control of the cell house by overpowering guards and gaining access to weapons and keys. So I guess their 3-1 wasn't working out for them, huh?
I'm curious as to what these men did in the very first place now. Another rabbit hole I get to go on.
Yes,
later.
yes, because I did not go into each of their crimes, but yes.
Just a quick wiki search. I just want to see, like,
because it's the worst of the worst. You know, they had to have done, even if they did it in prison, they had to have done something that was, like, untoward.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they planned to use the weapons and keys to escape through the recreation yard door, but pretty quickly they ran into a slight problem. They did not have the correct key for the recreational yard door.
Oh my God.
So they had keys, but not to that door.
Wow.
Yeah.
You'd think that that's one thing you'd just
1940s problems, right?
Yeah.
Well, I guess they just got weapons and some keys and they figured it was enough keys. I don't know. Wasn't there. There's no way to know.
They may be brutal criminals, but they're not very smart, are they?
Probably not. Anyway, so instead of just laying down and giving up, they decided to fight back. The men ended up killing 2 guards, which they had held hostage. Yeah, it gets bloody.
Oh, how did they kill them?
They just had weapons. They just probably shot them. Yeah, they just...
Shot? Oh, yeah, because they just stole. Yeah.
It's the 40s, too. I mean, it's probably guns that they have. Maybe clubs at this point, but either way, it wasn't a fun death.
No.
3 of the men, of course, decided that the fight was just too much for them. They're like, fuck this.
Yeah.
So Shockley, Thompson, and Carnes decided to return to their cells, giving up the fight. Yeah.
Okay.
Coy, Kretzer, and Hubbard...
The meanest looking ones, if you ask me.
They stood their ground and continued the fight that they had started. They ended up calling in the United States Marines.
Oh, my.
And a big fight ensued.
Holy crap. Between these 3 prisoners and the military?
It doesn't end good for the 3 prisoners. They probably
this is crazy, though.
shot a couple guns and then they died. So, yes, they died. They were killed. Spoiler alert. In the midst of the fight, Kretzer, Hubbard, and Coy. Sorry. Yes. A lot of C's and R's.
And R's, yeah.
Good Lord. So, yes, they did not stand a chance against the Marines. Even if they brought 4 Marines, they probably didn't stand much of a chance.
Yeah.
So, in the whole
battle,
yes, as they call it, 17 guards and 1 prisoner were left wounded. Mm-hmm.
From these 3 guys. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, so, I mean, it's not that impossible with school shootings. There's 1 person with a gun and a million kids.
Especially if they're holding people hostage.
Yeah.
We don't know if there was like some type of negotiation that was going on. If you listen back to the Montana State Prison episode, I think that was the one. They had a big riot and an escape attempt that kind of ended the same way with the National Guard and the bazooka.
That's right.
So, who knows if there were negotiations and things like that. So, yeah.
Crazy.
The 3 surviving prisoners ended up standing trial for their part in the attempt. Shockley and Thompson were given the death penalty.
Even though they
were involved in the death of the 2 guards. Okay. This was before they went back. So they do have to have some blood on their hands. They're not perfect. Yes, they went back, but they should have gone back sooner.
Yeah.
Okay? So they were later put to death by gas chamber.
Oh.
19-year-old Carnes. 19-year-old.
I was going to say, this boy looks quite young on the left here. I think that's...
He received a second life sentence.
Mm-hmm.
So he did not die. Probably, his age came into effect. 19. He's a nugget. So, yeah, that ended the Battle of Alcatraz. Nobody escaped. Well, 3 died. But, yes, no one was successful. The next one leaves it a little more murky on if they were successful or not. So we're jumping to July 11th, 1962. And this one is one of the most famous escapes. It was the inspiration for Clint Eastwood's movie, Escape from Alcatraz.
Uh-huh.
And this one involved 4 prisoners. Clarence Anglin, his brother John Anglin, I wonder what they did, maybe they did it together, Frank Morris, and Alan Clayton West. The men made plaster heads with actual human hair, which they collected from the barbershop.
Oh my gosh.
I
thought that looked like human hair. I was like,
it's
that
human
hair looks real.
motherfucking hair. This is brilliant. I'm sorry, this is
How do
brilliant.
they get the plaster and all that? How do they do this in prison?
Who the fuck even knows?
What the heck?
Watch the movie that probably sensationalizes everything. And they just have, like, materials that no one would be able to have because it's a movie.
I should probably definitely watch this movie.
But yes, they made...
Don't come for me, I haven't watched it before.
I watched it with my dad so many years ago, and sometimes those movies blur for me.
Yeah.
Like, there's another movie called Papillon, and that movie blurs with that one. It's all a mess. So, anyway... These heads were to be used as a decoy during the night counts. They would put them under the blanket, kind of stuck up.
Blanket.
They would see the hair. They would count them. Guards aren't suspicious at all.
That's probably why now, like I know it's a TV show, but in Orange is the New Black, they had to be standing there at their cell. Because I bet you decoys...
Well, I don't know if they did at night. Because this was nightly count.
I don't know.
Because I think they just count you at night.
Maybe. Yeah,
but during the day, you're out of your fucking cell. You're standing
there.
So, or at least in your cell, you're standing there. But they did this at night too, which was even smarter.
Absolutely.
So during the night, the men crept through the ventilators, which were in their cells. I don't know exactly what that looks like, but it's probably just like little things that like sent air flowing through from like natural spots, just so that it didn't get stuffy. They took stolen spoons and widened these ventilators.
Oh my god.
So first of all, they're not tool proof if they can use a spoon.
I know.
Dumbass.
Like what?
And they used a spoon, they widened it, they crept through. Unfortunately, for Alan, he was too wide to fit through the hole, so he just kind of had to stay behind.
Oh, no.
I know. Which, I don't know, maybe good for him, because I don't know the outcome.
Yeah.
We don't know. But once the other three had made their way to the roof, they then made it down to the water, where they disappeared into the night. Authorities believe the men drowned, but they never found bodies. And they reported it as a drowning. But who knows?
Did they ever search the bay?
Oh, all the time, yeah. If someone went missing, they were looking for bodies. And that's the thing. They didn't find bodies, but they reported it.
Huh.
Yeah. And who knows how far they combed. They might have combed the whole entire... Who knows? But yeah.
Someone was out there waiting for them with a boat. Or something.
Something had to happen. But
I believe they survived.
We're going to get into it, too. At Alcatraz, maybe you got visitors, but you were cut off from the outside world. You weren't... I don't think they got phone privileges.
No letters.
They were literally monitoring and doctoring any letters that came on or off this island.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, who knows if they even would have been able to get somebody to come bring a boat.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Ooh, I love the mystery.
It's just gone.
They're
just
gone. I want to know, because I believe they made it. I believe
they made it too. Yeah, I believe they made it too.
And
I just wish Alan could have been with them, but if he was too big to get through the hole, maybe he wouldn't have been able to
swim all that way.
I wouldn't.
He probably would have, yeah.
Hell no.
Although floating is way better when you have more weight.
I know, but the currents might just be knocking them right back into the rocks. Who knows?
All of them, really.
Yeah, who knows? It's got.
They didn't find any body though, so it's like
nobody, no crime.
There was 3 of them. You know, and they didn't find one body.
Not one body.
Yeah,
just disappeared. Just gone. I know.
Or the question could also be, some guard was outside at night, found him, and took care of him himself or something, and
you never know.
Never threw him into the water or something. Who knows?
Never know. Yeah.
And then they just said no body because they just
covered it up.
Yeah.
We'll get into that too, and like the spooky stuff, because there's some weird things that happen. So let's get into it, because I'm really excited.
Okay.
There are a lot of other escapes. Of course, I went through the numbers a little earlier. So if you want to do your own, little digging, that's fine. I did not want to be here for 16 hours.
This is the haunted episode,
So I did kind of hit, couple things looser. Because I don't need a 3-hour episode, and neither do you. So next we're going to go into the notable inmates.
Okay.
First. So the biggest and most notable one is Al Capone. Everyone knows that Al Capone was at Alcatraz. He was a mobster, of course. If you don't know that, you can listen to our Valentine's Day episode.
Yes,
and
very bloody.
Yeah, we go into a little bit about him. So I'm not getting into it right now. But it said that he was sent to Alcatraz because in Atlanta, he was able to reach the outside world and he was conducting business from his cell.
Of course he was.
So he was like putting out hits and probably, doing his sales.
Telling his cronies what to do for him.
You know it, yep. So they wanted to send him far away with no hope of reaching anybody. Nobody. Capone was also in for a rude awakening when he arrived to The Rock. In Georgia, he was able to befriend guards. He was a charismatic man. He'd flash a smile. They knew he had money. And basically, he did what he wanted. He got special privileges, such as uncensored books and liquor.
Uncensored books.
I know, right?
Oh!
I think that's still a thing. I could be wrong, though.
Jesus.
But yeah, the dude was getting liquor, too. Like, he was getting anything he wanted, man. So, on arrival at Alcatraz, Warden Johnson was not having any of that. Capone, of course, immediately tried to schmooze the guards and the warden, but Warden put him right in his place. He said, "You are inmate number 85, step back in line."
Oh, not today, Capone.
Nope, he was not having it. I guess he flashed a smile and the warden's like, "I know what this fucking guy's up to. Get back."
Yeah.
No day for it.
He's a no shit taking warden.
And that's perfect for Alcatraz.
Yeah, you can't take shit at Alcatraz.
Exactly.
Or else the whole prison will be run over with all these crazy inmates.
Yep, you gotta be a hard guy for that.
Yeah.
I guess Capone also spent some time in isolation after being stabbed by another inmate. I guess the other inmate got scissors, there was a skirmish, and then he stabbed Capone. Yes. Okay. And I guess they probably both went into isolation, but Capone was definitely put into isolation after that.
Yeah, for his safety.
That's what they say.
Yeah.
Or maybe they saw the fight,
on the other one.
Who the hell knows? He's probably calling out a hit right now. So, Capone did not stay the entire sentence at Alcatraz and was later moved to another facility in 1938. That's what would happen, too. If they felt like you were doing better and you didn't need to be at Alcatraz, you could be moved either back to where you were or maybe a new facility. So it does happen.
I was going to say, because the whole last hope or whatever, like the final destination of prisoners, I was like, oh, do they just... So everybody who goes there just lives and dies in Alcatraz?
It just depended. If you were going to change and you showed... I mean, we're going to get into this here because apparently the warden called George Machine Gun Kelly a model prisoner.
Okay.
Which, of course, he's like, nah, I was murdering people. But the warden was like, no, he was really a good guy in my prison. So, yeah. So next we go to George Machine Gun Kelly. And when he came to Alcatraz, he, of course, was another notorious gangster during the Prohibition era. He had been at Leavenworth Prison in Kansas. And... yeah, was actually quite a good prisoner while at Alcatraz. So due to this, he was returned to Leavenworth in 1950, where he died. Yeah, so he had a little stint at Alcatraz, went right back to Leavenworth.
That probably gave him some huge credentials, too, when he went back to Leavenworth.
See, that's probably why he told the stories. Like, literally, as I was doing my research on him there was nothing. Yeah. There was nothing untoward. There wasn't anything really violent that I read.
Because he was scared. He's like, shit, this is no shit taking prison. I better keep my head down so I can get the fuck out of here.
Well, think on the outside how many people he probably had underneath him doing all the heavy work.
Yeah, and now he can't because he's in Alcatraz.
Yep. So, yeah.
It's one of those pretending to be rehabilitated, but you're really not, just so you can get out and keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah. Or he was scared at Alcatraz, and then he came back and was like, oh no, I did this, and I killed this guy, and
Even if he didn't, still, I feel like just being like, yeah, I was at Alcatraz for such and such a time.
Oh, yeah.
You don't even need to emphasize or make things up. Dude, you were at Alcatraz. Like, that's some street cred as it is.
Apparently, which, I don't know, maybe the article was written a couple of years ago, but apparently there's still some people alive who are at Alcatraz.
Oh, I bet there are. Because it closed in the 60s.
Call me. If you were at Alcatraz, don't
Please
call me. Email me.
Yeah.
I'll shout it out at the end, and we want to interview you. I want to know what it was like.
Oh, everything. I want to hear all your stories. Yeah.
Everything. Okay. So, the most notable prisoner, dude even had a movie about him, was Robert Stroud, a.k.a. the Birdman of Alcatraz. So, in my research, I didn't do research. Like, I didn't go off on his own Wikipedia and do that stuff. The historyofalcatraz.com website had their own little blog off on him.
Yeah.
So, that's what I used. And I was actually just kind of like, oh, okay. Like, his crimes were really bad. But, like, the Birdman part doesn't really have anything to do with Alcatraz. That was all at Leavenworth. So we'll get into it. So it was just kind of like, oh, okay. Why is he so, like, Alcatraz? I guess it was just maybe...
Because that's where he's ended up, I guess.
Yeah, or died.
Yeah.
We'll get into it. But, yeah, it's just kind of like, I was like, oh, okay.
Well, he just carried his nickname with him. I mean, they're like,
It's
the Birdman. Now he's the Birdman of Alcatraz.
Like, and you gotta think it's a little island. There probably were a lot of birds. There's probably a ton of bird shit everywhere.
Yeah.
Like when...
I thought it was based on how this dude looks, because he is quite Asian.
No, we will get into it. So we will get into it. So yes, in 1909, Robert Shroud brutally murdered a bartender. So apparently the bartender failed to pay the sex worker who Stroud was pimping out. Yeah, you know.
Why would the bartender be responsible? Oh, so the bartender was... Okay, I understand.
Was
taking her company.
Yes. I like the way you said that. Sorry, I don't know another word for pimping out or pimp or that. Do we have that yet in culture? Because I know you use sex worker. But what do I do for pimp? I'm sorry. Let me know. Educate me.
Handler? God, that even sounds worse.
No, that sounds even worse.
Yeah.
I haven't heard a different one for pimp yet. But if there is, email me.
Yeah.
I'd like to know, and I will use it in the future. Maybe that is, who knows. So, anyway, after the murder, Stroud took the man's wallet as payment. He was arrested pretty quickly and convicted of manslaughter by 1911. I don't know why it wouldn't be first degree and manslaughter. I don't know.
It's weird with that. Sometimes they give it in some premeditation, and it's like, I don't understand why.
I know. It's like, he did you wrong, so it's manslaughter. Like, no, I don't feel like that.
No, that's like straight up cold-blooded murder. If you could just all of a sudden get so angry that you stab somebody or kill somebody, that's murder. Like
murder, yeah.
The premeditation thing gets me annoyed. Like, they should have a whole different charge for
because I get first and second is very hard. Yeah. You do have to prove that premeditation. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times if they do walk on second degree, it's like, don't get too mad about it, because sometimes it is really hard to pin somebody with that premeditation, and you don't want them to walk out either. Yeah. Do you? You want them sentenced to something, I'd hope. Anyway, Stroud was sent to Mcneil Penitentiary in Washington State, so that's where he was sent at the beginning. Stroud was not a model inmate at Mcneil, and he was noted as being violent and very difficult. He even stabbed a fellow inmate on one occasion.
I wonder how old he was in 1909, or in that time period.
We'll get into
when he looks quite old in this photo.
Well, that's when he was in Alcatraz.
Yeah.
So he might have been a little bit...
Like, probably 50s, 60s, maybe. It looks like.
Yeah, so maybe he was like 30s, 40s when he first went in, because it was 19. We'll get to when he died, too. Okay. And then if you want to do that math, go right ahead, but I'm not doing it.
Oh, no, I'm not. I don't feel like even pulling out a calculator right now.
I hear you.
That's how not concerned I am about it.
No.
I've got an age range. I know where I'm looking. I just like to picture things in my head. Yeah, I'm looking at him. I like to imagine what he might have looked like during that time.
Yep. So... this inmate that he stabbed, this awarded him transfer to Leavenworth. So I'm not sure if Leavenworth is also kind of like Alcatraz. I think you can be sent there, but I think it maybe...
It's probably just another sort of max security, but place, not like a last resort Alcatraz type.
By the way, everybody, I feel like everyone needs to know this. I am sweating. It is hot in here. It's humid and I'm sticky.
I'm somehow not sweating.
I am very warm.
Maybe it's because you're in a leatherish chair and I'm in a camping chair that has more air.
It very well could be. Like, I want to put my bangs back. I am sweaty. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah, the rain didn't take down any of the humidity. It seems.
No, and we can't feel any of the AC in here because the noise quality.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. So while Stroud is at Leavenworth, he just keeps on with his violent streak. He ends up stabbing a guard to death.
Oh my.
He just fucking...
Jeez.
Just wait, he's gonna escalate. So, for this, he's convicted of first-degree murder. And he ends up being sentenced to death by hanging.
Oh, wow.
But you're probably thinking, wait, what? Huh? He hasn't even been sent to Alcatraz. So his mother, so distraught, pleads for her son's life. In 1920, President Woodrow Wilson ends up commuting his death sentence from the pleas of his mother.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
I have never heard of that happening before. A mother.
Uh-huh.
You know how many mothers are pleading for their children, especially innocent ones?
It must have just been something about the 20s. I don't know.
Wow.
But yeah.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah. Next part, I bet you're all wondering where the nickname Birdman came from, because he is known as the Birdman of Alcatraz.
He used to capture them and eat them while they were alive.
No.
Oh.
He had a very keen interest in birds. It all started while at Leavenworth. Apparently, he had found an injured bird in the yard, which spiked his fascination. I don't know if he cared for it and put it back to health or if it was too far gone. They just note this experience as starting his bird obsession. And it was especially canaries.
Huh.
So don't ask me how this works, because I don't know how it works, okay? I don't know. They just let him do it. They let him work with canaries in a cell adjacent to his own. So he would breed them. He would care for them. He was studying them.
Huh.
I don't know. They thought that it would be good for his rehabilitation, keep him busy. It's something that he really seemed interested in. But yeah, he just had like birds that he would care for. I guess he created like medicines for these birds. He wrote books on these birds.
That's actually really interesting.
It's super interesting. He was studying their habitats and their psychology, and his books were really highly regarded. Like his one book on ornithology is like the classic in ornithology that's still like used to teach about these canaries.
And he was doing this at Leavenworth.
At Leavenworth, yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's really confusing. Like it's so strange.
I know, the weirdest thing, and
it sucks because it's a redeeming quality of his.
I know
that. You know, because I'm an animal person, but here's this guy who's an awful man. He's sitting in a cell rehabilitating and raising and like...
As I'm like...
And he didn't even kill any of them. I thought you were going to say it, but one day, all the birds were dead and they were bloody everywhere.
He's literally just studying them and writing birds, and he was like an ornithologist, and...
I don't like the feelings.
Yes, as I'm researching this, I'm like, he murdered.
Yeah, remind yourself that. I know.
He was naming birds, and then I get to the part where he died, and I'm kind of sad. I'm like, wait.
I know.
Hold up, what?
I know. I hate emotions.
Oh, yes, he's a tricky one.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Apparently, because he was working on this, he was awarded a little bit of privilege, and he got some equipment that he could use. Apparently, I guess it was to make avian type of medicine. There was like a medicine that he was creating and testing on the birds, but he was also using it to make alcohol.
Jesus.
Maybe that helps with his character.
Maybe.
His character development, zigzag, all around. So, yeah. That right there awarded him his move to Alcatraz.
Oh, wow.
That is what sent him to Alcatraz.
That's what sent him to Alcatraz?
He was being, I mean, you can't have contraband, he was also pretty violent probably, but yeah.
It sounded to me like he was just being all peaceful caring for his birds. It didn't sound like after he'd killed that one other inmate.
Well, he was moved to Leavenworth for that.
Yeah. But then he didn't kill anybody else, but then they're just going to...
But also, you got to think that this happened in the 1920s. Alcatraz wasn't open.
Yeah.
Alcatraz didn't open until probably after he made the alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
And who knows what you could be awarded to Alcatraz for.
I'm just really surprised. I'm really surprised that it was just the alcohol, because when I pictured the worst of the worst being sent to Alcatraz because they're unruly, I wasn't picturing just making alcohol.
Yeah, but he still is the worst of the worst. So it's probably based on your previous crimes and then any trouble that you get into while you're in prison.
Yeah.
And that's contraband. That can sometimes be the worst thing to have in the world. That can award you extra time.
Mm-hmm.
No alcohol, no prison wine, guys. Toilet wine. No toilet wine. So, so after this, he spends 17 years at Alcatraz. And he's not permitted to work with his birds while he's there.
Mm-hmm.
He's there for not rehabilitation, so nothing that's good for him. Apparently 6 of those 17 years he spent in D-block segregation. Not sure what exactly he did, but they said that I think He probably, in my brain, he couldn't work with his bird, so I feel like he probably started kind of reverting and kind of being violent and being unruly again. And that's probably what awarded him all of his segregation. Unfortunately, it feels like this guy's been in prison pretty much his whole life by this point. He's in the 20s, and then this is at least... We know it opened in the 30s.
Yeah, so it had been some time.
Yeah, so he's already been in jail for a while. So his health started to fail, and he was spending a lot of time in the medical wing. And after that, I guess there's a medical center for prisoners in Missouri where they can be sent to kind of have their last of life.
Like a hospice prison or something.
Yep, so he's sent there, and unfortunately he does die. Unfortunately. See, it's weird. It's such a weird feeling. And, he died of natural causes. It wasn't anything like murdered or anything like that.
He had something going on with his body.
Yes, so that's the Birdman. There is a movie. There is a lot of conflicting love and hate for this movie because they say a lot of it is very sensationalized. And you got to kind of take it with a grain of salt. So if you want to watch it, I've never seen it. I didn't actually know a ton about this guy. I knew I've heard of the Birdman, but I never knew why. I was surprised. I was like, I figured he was just on the island and birds were landing on him or something.
I was just picturing him killing all the birds on the island.
Pictured the birds loved him or something. I don't know. So that's the Birdman. We all learned something today. And now we're going to go into the decline. So by the 1960s, Alcatraz was on the decline. Many of the buildings were deteriorating and costs to run the prison were really, really, really high. Apparently,
because it was on an island.
Yeah, right? You have all that sea salt that's probably coming in. You got birds that are probably pooping all up on everything.
Well, not only that, but it's harder to have
electricity
and everything just on your own little island.
Just everything more about expensive. It was just hard to run. So Alcatraz, being the most expensive to run of any federal or state prison in the country, had to close down. They also wanted to go to more rehabilitation and education and learning, and were kind of changing up the structure in prisons and jails around the country. So that was not something Alcatraz wanted or did, so they just kind of were sending it away. Attorney General Robert Kennedy, we were just talking about him, officially called for the closure on March 21st, 1963.
Oh, okay.
So it didn't have a long life.
No.
It did, but as a federal penitentiary...
Yeah, for what we all think of it as.
It didn't. Yeah, it's crazy. So past inmates who have been, interviewed or have talked about Alcatraz, they still remember the hellish conditions at Alcatraz. Suicides and murders were common, and treatment was enough to drive anyone insane. They called it Hellcatraz.
Oh, that's actually perfect.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a great...
It's hell.
Alcatraz.
Yep. Ugh, yeah.
Huh.
Yep. So the island, of course, went back to the birds after the facility closed, but in 1969, Alcatraz found its way back into the news.
Ooh.
Yes.
In 69, so it was just 5 years after it closed, really.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, according to History.com, on November 9th, 1969, a group of Native Americans led by Mohawk activist Richard Oakes occupied the island. They claimed the land for, quote, Indians of all tribes.
Oh, wow.
So they felt the land was theirs, they wanted it back, and they were going to fight for it.
And they were even going to put their tribal differences aside, because we know that some, had confrontation with each other.
It does get a little...
tricky.
Yeah, a little bit. And if you look at your picture document, there's, some spray paint that says,
Indians, welcome.
Yeah. So that is from when they occupied. They had hopes of obtaining the deed to the island and establishing a university, as well as a cultural center and a museum.
Oh, wow.
So they wanted to give it back to their people.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we fucking took everything from them, so what the fuck?
Yeah.
The occupation lasted a total of 19 months. They had even established a council who managed security, sanitation, daycare services, schooling, and housing for everyone
kills me is that
while on the island.
They had this beautiful plan that I'm sure they would have let people come into their museum and look around and all that and charge for it.
They probably would have used the buildings. They probably would have just,
Yeah, but instead we'd take it away and leave it fucking empty and do nothing.
Well, it's not necessarily nothing. we'll get into it, but it's not. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
It's like
just give it.
It's just ridiculous. Why?
Just give it to them. What's the harm?
This was their land before it was ours. Everything like. Ugh.
Yeah.
Anyways, we're not gonna get into that today either.
No. Nope.
Go away, feelings.
Yeah. So yeah. By 1971, things did start falling apart as some of the group began to break off into like their own little groups and segments. And they even rose up against Richard Oakes, wanting to take their own control. So it just kind of, I don't know exactly what that entailed. There is a ton more on this, guys, and I'm sorry. This could be its own mother effing episode if I wanted to, but I do not. I mean, we've already been recording for really long, it feels like. It has been. I don't want this to be a 3-hour episode. So unfortunately, this is like the Cliff Notes version. I apologize. There is a ton of information out there, though. It is really neat. So there was a forced removal by the U.S. government on June 10th in 1971. Of course, we got to force them out. Removal. It didn't go as bad as it probably could have. I'll just say that. Though the true nature of the occupation was never fulfilled, apparently some negotiations did take place afterwards. According to an article on legendsofamerica.com, Blue Lake and 48,000 acres of land were returned to the Taos Indians. Yeah, I'm not sure what Blue Lake is, but it must be this beautiful lake that once, was part of their people's land.
Unless you're talking about holes where, it was called Green Lakes and there is no lake because it dried up.
Yes. Sploosh.
Camp Green Lakes.
Yep. So there was a university also established in Davis, California. And I'm not sure what this next part, entails. Did they not have one before? Because that's pretty fucked up. But it says there was placement of Native Americans in the Bureau of Native American Affairs office in Washington, D.C. So did this exist without having anybody representing for the tribal people and Native Americans? What the fuck?
I have no clue because guess what? Our whitewashed history
it doesn't teach us anything. Exactly. So I was like, there's finally placement, or did they kind of create something and put placement? That's what I'm hoping, but probably not. It's probably the other fucking way. We had white people who are like, this is how we're going to dictate their lives.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah. Okay. By 1973, Alcatraz became part of the National Park Service and has been opened for tours ever since. So it's part of the whole Golden Gate Park. So the Golden Gate Bridge is right there, and it's a whole park. Guests can take a ferry through the bay and visit the island. There are tours. It is open. They field 1 million people a year. So you can definitely go visit.
I'm going.
Yep, it is open.
Ain't no question. When I go to California someday, that's part of my destination.
Yes.
So if anybody in California wants to have us go live, have a live show out there,
let us know.
You want to give us a Kickstarter to get out to Alcatraz so we can give you an awesome ass haunted episode.
Oh my god.
For our paranormal group.
Anyway, so I want to get this done so we can get to the best part, which is the hauntings.
Okay.
There's one more fun tidbit. Apparently every year hundreds of athletes participate in the Escape from Alcatraz triathlon. This proves that with proper training and gear, one could swim from Alcatraz and survive.
That's hilarious.
But it did say on history.com, which I found this tidbit, with proper gear and training, because the water's cold, man.
Yeah.
You gotta have a wetsuit on. You probably thermal of some sort. So it does prove you can swim it, but who knows if a prisoner could just, jump in the water and swim it. So, yeah.
Huh.
Visitors who have visited recall the atmosphere of Alcatraz to be, quote, eerie, ghostly, and chilling.
Oh, I'm sure.
So with that, let's get into what we're all waiting for.
Yes, ma'am.
The spooky shit.
Okay.
I love this. I don't know why, but I was reading this and I was just like, whoa. This is some of the most compelling crap. It's nuts. So, okay, yes.
Huh.
So, for this, I'm solely using an article from legendsofamerica.com. It had a ton of info. Literally, this whole entire thing was just ghost experiences and these really long stories of, what people... Oh my God, it's so cool. Are you ready?
Yes, I am ready.
Okay. So, staff on the island and many visitors report, of course, hearing lots of noises. They hear men's voices, whistles, clanging of metal doors, and terrifying screams.
Oh, gosh.
Yay. In the mess hall area of the old prison, visitors report hearing men's voices just like chatting.
Like you would. Like
the only time that they were really able to fucking talk, too.
Yeah.
There are also reports of hearing a banjo strumming that was coming from the cell of Al Capone.
Huh. I wonder if he played banjo.
Well, the weirdest thing is, you were not permitted radios or instruments at Alcatraz.
Yeah.
At least while he was there.
Uh-huh.
So I think I did cover it. He was in a prison band in Montana or somewhere
Something
else.
like that, yeah.
It might have been the banjo that he played, but I can't remember. I'd have to look back at my notes. Sorry, guys. My brain isn't just keeping everything.
No, mine doesn't anyway. It purges after like 3 days.
So, yeah.
That's awesome.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Paranormal activity was also very rampant while the prison was open and active. These are my favorite.
Huh.
Guards had reported several ghostly sights, including sobbing and moaning, terrible smells,
Ew.
and they even reported seeing an entity with glowing eyes, which they referred to as the Thing.
Huh.
Yeah. And this is coming from guards who worked at the prison.
Yeah.
Not just people visiting nowadays. Oh, so creepy.
I love that.
Oh, it's so, like, it gets even better the more I go down. It's just like, each story just gets better and better. And better.
Yeah. It really builds.
Pitch perfect. So even Warden Johnson, who famously stated he did not believe in ghosts, had some creepy encounters. He was once with a group of tourists. I don't know how this worked, but apparently the island would host tourists from time to time. Maybe to show the world it wasn't bad or something.
Prisoners?
Yeah. Maybe it was just, people probably thought it was a bad place, so maybe they opened it every now and again to let people in.
Interesting.
I don't know. But apparently while he was giving them the tour, they heard a distinct sound of a woman sobbing. As soon as the sobbing stopped, an icy breeze blew through the group.
Now, question. Was this a male-only prison, or I wonder if any women were bad enough at the time to ever even have been sent there?
I did not find any women in my research.
Okay.
So I don't believe, maybe
Probably
military, but I don't think any women were in Alcatraz or prior.
Okay.
Maybe someone worked there, but I didn't even find that in my research.
Probably not worked there, I would say.
No,
if
I don't
women
think
were interred there. But
I know, and usually the prisoners do a lot of the jobs.
Yeah.
They keep it pretty self-sufficient. So, yeah, a woman sobbing. Not sure.
No female prisoners were ever...
Nope.
Maybe it was the mothers sobbing for their off the hinge.
Who knows?
Babies.
Or maybe something happened millennia before, just
true.
on the island, or someone drowned. Like, there might be so many stories that were never written.
Yeah.
Yep. So, again, in the 1940s, Warden Johnson was holding a Christmas party at his quarters on the island. It said that the apparition of a man appeared. He was in a gray suit, a brimmed cap, and had big mutton chop sideburns. The guards in attendance were all fairly spooked. All of a sudden, they felt the room go freezing cold, and the fire that had been lit in the stove went out.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Right as that happened, the apparition just disappeared. Just gone.
Huh.
They're seeing full-bodied apparitions. Like, that gave me goosies, man.
Yeah.
Just standing there having a Christmas party, and bam, just seeing full people.
That you didn't invite.
No, and there's more. There's more of just seeing full people. It's crazy. Guards apparently also told stories of hearing cannon blasts so loud they would literally fall to the floor, fearing that a prisoner had gotten an arsenal of some sort and was taking over the prisoner. Yeah, or the prison. Yeah. And I mean, it was a army.
Yeah.
They had the cannons.
Yeah.
It said that they didn't see war, so I don't think it was ever used really as an arsenal. But
just been tested,
testing
your cannons.
The stuff was there that could be a residual.
Yeah.
And apparently they would just fall to the ground thinking that something was happening in the prison.
That's crazy.
Apparently one of the most haunted areas in the prison is D Block, and this holds the cells of the whole. In the 40s, again, a guard who was on duty in D Block reported seeing an apparition of a man who was dressed in late 1800s prison attire. And he was just sauntering through the halls.
Wow.
Da-da-da-da-da. Yep.
Late 1800s prison attire.
And it was a prison at that time. Military. So the same apparition appears again, but in a truly terrifying report coming out of D Block.
The same apparition.
Mm-hmm.
Huh, okay.
So apparently there was an inmate who was taken into the hole and locked in one of the cells. As soon as the guard left the man, he started screaming bloody murder. He stated there was a man in there with him with glowing eyes. Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. The guards, of course, passed this off. They thought, oh, he just wants to get moved. It's nothing. Even though, I mean, they know this place is legit. Stupid.
Yeah, they even said that there was a glowing-eyed creature.
Exactly.
There,
There's something. So the man screamed and screamed and screamed well into the night when, after hours, he just fell silent. When the guards went to check on the inmate the next morning, they found a grisly scene. The man was dead with a terrible expression permanently ingrained on his face. They had also found handprints around his neck.
Oh my gosh.
They did an autopsy report, and it was reported that the strangulation could not have been self-inflicted.
Well, no, because your fingerprints the
way that it would have been.
The force that might have been put on him, things like that.
Like, I mean, there were people who were like, oh, it's probably just a guard, but
he was
something was in there.
Yeah.
Something was in there with him, and then the screaming just stops.
Yeah. Wow.
Dude, this place is legit.
I mean, I kind of feel bad for that guy. He was scared for his motherfucking life.
Just wait, the story gets stranger yet.
This story?
Yep.
Of this? Okay.
Yep. Apparently the day after the inmate's death, the guards had lined up all the other prisoners for their count, and they kept counting an extra person. It was said to be the spirit of the deceased inmate showing up for his count.
He doesn't know. He doesn't have any idea that he's dead. He thinks he's still just going to prison in Alcatraz.
Yep, that's exactly what I wrote. Maybe he did not know that he had passed and was just following his daily routine.
Yeah. Wow. That's a crazy story.
Dude, it's nuts.
Yeah.
I've never read something that crazy. I'm like, whoa. I need to go.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yes, some more spooky stuff. We're not done yet. Alcatraz has definitely become a hot tourist destination for history buffs and, of course, paranormal enthusiasts.
Yes.
Of course.
Of course.
Visitors who toured D Block report severe cold spots and a sudden intense feeling upon entry.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Cells 12 and 14D are the most active in the block and are often 20 degrees cooler than the rest of the areas.
Oh my gosh.
They also offer tingling sensations of the arms and hands. It's like a vibration that people have witnessed.
Wow. That's a lot of energy.
Many have also reported psychic visions coming to them, sometimes seeing and speaking with past inmates. And from what I gathered, it didn't sound like they were like seasoned mediums or even clairvoyant. It was just they were in there, they started feeling the tingling energy, and then they had this vision.
Yeah. Oh my, I want to go so bad right now.
Yeah.
I need to feel these things.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean,
wow.
That's all that haunted, spooky shit. I'm sure there's like so much more.
Oh, I'm sure.
With
but
how
I'd
many
rather
people
us
go
go
there
and find out ourselves
all day long.
And that place is huge, so they're probably not allowing people just to walk around by themselves, which would be stupid.
I don't know how it's set up. I think they might though. They might because other prisons you can just. I mean, there are some areas that are like locked off, but they have like areas where you walk through and then it takes you through like a museum experience is what I would think. Yeah, because even like the one plaster head is still on display there, like kind of tucked out of the blanket. So
like
it is set up.
It
is set up like a museum. So yeah.
Wow, that was a good episode.
Isn't that nuts, dude? I was like, whoa. Yeah. And there was way more. There was way more haunted stuff. I could have put every bump and creak that every person had heard.
Oh, I know. It's so hard when you're reading everybody's stories.
But some of those, I was like, I have to put this in. I have to put that one in. Like, that man just going into the cell and coming out just strangled by what?
Yeah.
With visible handprints?
Uh-huh.
Whew.
Uh-huh.
Whew.
That's I really enjoy.
We definitely got to go to the hole.
Yeah, I really enjoy this one picture of it. Let's see, the one that's the second image.
Oh, the foggy one.
During your whole last part of the episode, I had it zoomed in, so it took up my whole screen, and I've just been staring at it and looking at it,
just
and
so creepy looking and eerie.
Yeah, I'm looking at the couple different fortress houses that there are on there, and then the 2 different buildings for the prison itself, and then it's just.
Yeah.
I wonder if you can tour through all the houses on there. Literally, I'd have to spend 2 days in this place because you got the lighthouse, you got the 2 buildings, you got the other houses.
Just keep going back. Ferry back. I
would love it. I would just absolutely love it.
I know. I want to go. And I know, Sean has mentioned a billion times. He said it a lot. I want to go to San Francisco. I want to see sharks. I want to see Alcatraz. I want to see sharks. And I want to see Alcatraz. And yeah.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
I just wish it wasn't across our country. I just want to be able to just go there right now.
Snap our fingers.
People are so fortunate. But then again, we're fortunate too.
Yes, we are.
I just want to be close to Alcatraz.
To something cool.
So, yeah, I want to do a lockdown. I think it'd be really, I feel like it'd be mentally taxing to be locked down in there with how knowing about it and the reports about it and just... That fear would be intense, especially with all the stuff, the vibrations that you feel, and just, yeah. And sorry if it's super dark and super long episode.
It wasn't that dark. We've had darker episodes.
Super long. Sorry if it's super long then.
Just press play later when you get out of the car, when you're cleaning the house.
Yeah, come back to it, because
we come back to stuff all the time.
Exactly.
Especially when we rate episodes.
But yeah, no, the hauntings are never ending. It's incredible.
A really cool place.
It's fucking incredible, man. It's super haunted. And of course, there was a website that said one of the haunted places in the nation.
Of course.
Which I believe.
I can believe that.
I can believe it. Yeah. So. Alright, this is the part where we wrap it up, guys. Make sure to check out the blog for all our cool pictures. You can find those at www.morethanmurderpod.com. While you're there, you can sign up and become a member. Yes, you get an email and stuff when we post new episodes or blogs, and you can interact. It's really fun. After that, go find us on YouTube, hit the bell, subscribe. We have plans for more Snoops. Maybe one day when we get to Alcatraz, we'll have a Snoop from Alcatraz up there. You can find that at More Than Murder. Find us on our socials. We want you to follow us. You can follow us on Facebook at
More Than Murder.
Twitter at
More Than _Murder.
And Instagram at
More Than Murder Pod.
Yes.
That's right.
We think we remember it, and then half the time we're like,
is that it?
What? I did that your last episode too.
Yep.
So if you have any comments or show ideas, we'd really love to hear from you.
Or if you've been to Alcatraz. We might have people who listen that have visited Alcatraz Island.
Or you were an inmate.
Or if you were, please let us interview you.
Or you know somebody.
Or you were a guard.
Something, yeah.
I just want to interview somebody.
Anybody who was at Alcatraz or worked at Alcatraz while it was active.
Yes, let us know.
Or email us, actually, at the Gmail, morethanmurderpod@gmail.com.
Yes, sir.
And lastly, I won't go on and on and on. We want you guys, and we really appreciate if you were to head over to Apple and leave us a review.
Yes.
We put so much work and love into these episodes, so we want to know what you think. Okay? It also helps with visibility and being discovered by others who may enjoy our content.
That's right, and it helps us gain the charts so that we can keep producing content for you guys.
Yes, because we don't want to stop. We don't. So leave us a review. Make sure if you do leave us a review, send us an email with your address and all that, because we want to send you merch.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. Who doesn't love free stuff?
I know, it's free.
I do.
Just like this podcast.
I love free stuff. Free pamphlets. I got that shit everywhere. Give me a pamphlet. I love a pamphlet. If it's free, I love it. All right? Leave us a review. Anyway, I'm done rambling. I'm hot. I'm going to go stand in the AC. We love you guys. See you next week.
Thank you for listening as always.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.